Welcome to Middle East Minute by Al Monitor. From our studio in New York, I'm Adam Lucente. Here are the headlines we're looking at across the region. Today is Wednesday, August 12th, 2026. Lebanon passed a sweeping amnesty law on Wednesday, the first legislation of its kind since the Civil War. The law was introduced in April and aims to prevent prison overcrowding and will reduce sentences for those convicted of serious crimes. Various political factions have advocated for the controversial law, while families of those killed by Sunni Islamist groups have protested the legislation. Some Christian parties have pushed for the bill to include fighters in the South Lebanon Army who fled to Israel after the civil war ended. The exact contents of the bill had not been released by the time of recording. Lebanon last passed an amnesty law in 1991, the year following the end of the Civil War. On Tuesday, Lebanon became the first Arab country to abolish the death penalty. For more, keep an eye out for Beatrice Farhat's upcoming report on the law from Beirut. The Eastern-based Libyan National Army said on Tuesday that its intelligence chief, Fawzi el-Mansouri, was assassinated the night prior in Benghazi. Libya is divided between territories held by the LNA and the Tripoli-based government, and the killing comes at a time of increased international pressure to unify the country. Turkish Foreign Minister Hakan Fidan began a two-day trip to Libya on Tuesday and is expected to hold talks in Benghazi in addition to Tripoli. The U.S. is meanwhile pushing for the two camps to make a power-sharing agreement. The Libyan civil war ended in 2020, but the two sides have yet to reach a long-term political deal. Turkey backed the Tripoli government during the conflict. Head of the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps Quds Force, Ismail Qani, visited Baghdad this week amid increasing Iraqi pressure to disarm Iran-backed militias in the country. Iraq's Shafaq News reported that Qani told the militias to resist giving up their weapons at present, but added that they should avoid getting into a confrontation with the government. Iraqi Prime Minister Ali Azadi has set a September 30 deadline for the militias to integrate into the armed forces, and the move has been a key demand of the Trump administration. Al Monitor's correspondent in Tehran wrote on Tuesday that the situation demonstrates the limits of Iran's control in Iraq, saying Qani is hoping to buy time and see how the situation develops. He wrote, quote, "Iran appears to be trying to prevent two unfavorable outcomes at once: losing the armed network that has been central to its influence in Iraq, or watching that network trigger an internal Iraqi conflict that could bring even greater U.S. and regional pressure." The Houthis fired at a vessel near the Bab el-Mandeb Strait on Tuesday, with Yemeni authorities reporting that 6 people were killed. Meanwhile, U.S. Central Command said it struck via helicopter on Tuesday a ship that was sailing toward an Iranian port in violation of the blockade. Shipping remains down in the Strait of Hormuz, with 14 crossings on Tuesday, compared to the more than 100 a day before the war. The downturn in the Red Sea is less drastic, with 40 crossings of the Bab el-Mandeb on Tuesday, versus around 50 a day before the Houthi blockade, according to Kepler data. In other news, Israel and Venezuela renewed on Tuesday consular relations for the first time since 2009. Palestinian President Mahmoud Abbas is in Turkey for an official visit, and Iran's central bank governor said the country will soon join the BRICS bloc's new development bank. Thanks for listening to Middle East Minute. For the links to these stories and to keep up with headlines from across the region, visit elmonitor.com and subscribe to Middle East Minute on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. Until next time, I'm Adam Lucente.